Hello there, welcome back to the Cyberpunk series. Today I'll be building a power plant in the middle of the city, so all of our residents have the chance to catch complimentary lung cancer just for living in this dystopian hellscape of a city. Now we're starting today's episode with a ton of progress actually. So we're starting the episode with filling up one side of this particular street. And I know this video is supposed to be about building a power plant, but I didn't really like the idea of a power plant being like right up next to the street. Just because, you know, it won't be that tall and it also won't look that interesting really. So I kind of want to hide it away behind some other buildings. So that's what we're doing right now. And well, these builds are just facades, so I'm only building the exteriors. Now later on I will be placing like those light cubes and stuff behind the windows. So at least it kind of looks like people are actually living there. But yeah, I don't have the time, the money, the patience, or the plot data to furnish all of these builds. And that also extends to the ground floors, so those won't be furnished either. But I'll talk about that later when we actually start building those. Now, because they are technically filler buildings, I didn't put that much detail into them, but I tried for all of them to have something special about them. So for this red one, for example, there are these fan blades that are integrated into the facade. For the green one, I used those, I think they're called bay windows. You know, those windows that kind of stick out. And usually they wouldn't really fit with the cyberpunk theme, but I used basic shapes to kind of connect them. And then finally for the blue one, which well has the least interesting feature in my opinion, but for that one I just kind of put the stairs onto the exterior instead of having them inside. So technically all the builds have something special about them, and in my opinion they all still look pretty good, even though they may not be like the most detailed builds I've done in the series. Now moving on, I'm starting with the ground floor now, and what I've done here is also just kind of building a facade of sorts. And now because this is the ground floor, I didn't just want to put light cubes behind the windows like I do on the upper ones. So instead I've filled the shop window up with TVs, which I imagine would, you know, play all different sorts of ads. Of course it's not as good as like a full-fledged interior, but that's not the topic of this episode, so you know, it makes sense to kind of skip that. And then for the other building I went really basic and just put some sort of like advertisement on the wall. And all I can really say is that I love the result. So these are the ground floors, and as you can see, even though they aren't furnished, they still look kind of detailed, especially with these TVs. And I think the top halves also worked out pretty well. I especially love the detailing on the blue one. I mean, the red one doesn't have to be that detailed because it's so high up. You wouldn't see them anyways. The green one is probably the one I like the least. I still have to add some more details onto the walls, just to go over the basics. This spot right here is where the power plant is gonna go. And this is going to be like a storage site or something where trucks can park and turn around and stuff. Now while I'm building this, we currently have two main issues with this entire plan. And the first one is really obvious. So this is very little space for an entire power plant. So it's going to be pretty difficult to put like a decent interior into this. And to be perfectly honest, I do not have any plans how to do the interior at the moment. But that's like the smaller one of my issues. The actual biggest issue right now is that I'm going to go on vacation in 2 days. And I spent my last week building this, which does not contribute to the video at all. So admittedly, poor time management on my part. So now I have to build this building, fill up this entire plot of land, and edit the whole thing in 2 days. And I have to admit I'm not confident at all that I'm going to make the deadline. So you know, if this video came out like 2 weeks after the previous, then it's all good, everyone's happy. If that's not the case, you know that I screwed up and did not make the deadline. Now that I think of it, I actually did a pretty poor job of planning all of this out, because all I've planned is like this chimney design and the general shape of this building, and that's where I kind of stopped planning. Do I regret it? Yes. Will I make the same mistakes in the future? Probably also yes. Well, now I have to come up with a color scheme, which there is something I've noticed during my previous builds, but I don't know why. I don't do it intentionally, but every time I plan a color scheme, I start with something, then I change what I don't like, and in the end I always end up with this kind of orange and teal color combination. Which I mean, yeah, okay, this is the first build I did, so I guess it's okay there. I did it with this building during the last episode as well. And during the planning I did the same with this apartment, before I changed it up to being purple. The literal only reason that didn't happen here as well is because I only focus on one color instead of two, but I don't know what else I can like paint this build. Maybe orange is the way to go. Or maybe this green. I think this also kind of fits the industrial aesthetic. Maybe we can make it a bit more faded. Yeah, I think this is good. That's definitely something. I kind of like it though. But yeah, this is like the basic structure done, which means we can move on to this right here. Now the reason I didn't put like a shop in here, like I did here, was because I want to have a kind of security checkpoint, and this will also serve as the entrance to the power plant. So what you can see right now is just me doing some exterior details. So I've put like a lot of pipes and stuff around around the exterior to make it look a little more industrial. And later on in this time lapse you'll see me doing the interior layout. And well, I have to admit, I also did a ton of interior details, but I forgot to hit record when I was doing them. So after this time lapse, we'll skip straight to the tour. But to talk about the interior for a bit, I didn't really find a lot of inspiration how it could look, and you're gonna see that later. It doesn't look realistic in the slightest. But what I did was basically building like a big reactor looking type of thing. And there are lots of pipes leading in and out of it. That's basically the only important part in the power plant. Everything else I did was just kind of detailing and cluttering it up. And just generally making it look more industrial with like extra pipes that don't really lead anywhere, and like a security desk and stuff like that. And well, this is what the final result looks like. Honestly, in the beginning I wasn't so sure about it, but now I really like how it turned out. I mean, you can see I kind of reverted back to the to the orange and teal color scheme. But you can see what I tried to do with all the pipes and stuff. I think it looks pretty good, even though the odd looking chimney is probably my personal favorite. I also had to do the backs of all of these houses, which took a lot of time, which I probably should have invested into the interior. But if you go inside, first of all, you can see it's really dark, and also the sun kind of shines through these windows, which would look really pretty if I didn't put blinds over them. But yeah, it's generally really dark. It's also really messy. But this is the security desk. Of course, there's wires everywhere. And here we have the reactor. So first of all, there are these pipes right here, and they're connecting to this garage door. So what I kind of thought what would happen was that there would be trucks docking onto the delivery bay, and they'd be unloading like coal or oil or whatever into this, which would then be put into the reactor by these pipes. And then if we take a look, you know, there are also these pipes leading out, connecting to the chimney. So that's where, you know, all the toxic fumes and stuff get pumped into the city air. As you can see, I didn't clutter up upstairs, which was just because I really didn't have time for that, as I'll be leaving for vacation in less than 3 hours. So this is the control panel. I used the laptop to have just like a keyboard sticking out. You can still use it and watch the security cameras and stuff, which I have also added in now. But yeah, when I'm back from vacation, I'll probably detail all of this up a bit more. But for now, that's everything I have. And honestly, at least from down here, it doesn't look too bad. But the exterior is probably what I like the most. But yeah, if you have any suggestions on what I should put into the city or build in general, comment them down below. Also maybe tell me some details you'd like to see in the power plant when I revisit it to add in the missing details. And well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!